Okay, let's have a little talk about the portfolio delivery practices. Before we go too far, I'd just like to make an observation for you guys that are familiar with managing successful programs. There's quite a clear relationship between that product and the portfolio definition and the portfolio delivery lifecycle. So if you look at what's going on in portfolio definition, it's very much aligned with identifying a program and defining the program. Yeah, where you're actually trying to work out what it is, where you're going, and what the end game is going to be like. Then when we move into portfolio delivery, it's more about what we would normally be expecting to see in managing the tranches, where you've got lots of parallel activities going on that try to align us to some destination. And also, for those of you that are familiar with P3M3, you're going to be looking at those 7 practices thinking, hey, they ring a bell. Well, they do, because they're the 7 perspectives from P3M3. And as that's the product that I created for the OGC at the time, I was developing P3M3 at roughly the same time as the guys were developing MoP and P3o, which is why there's quite a lot of synergy between them. So let's start to put the stuff around portfolio definition behind us. So just as a reminder, we had to work out what's going on, how to organise things, what our priorities are, how are we going to cope with this, and work out a sequence of events. Well, now what we're talking about is how we deliver that sequence of events. So where shall we start? Well, they weren't put in any particular order, but the most important one is organisational governance. And you'll see around the book from time to time the term, are we doing the right things? And that's what governance is all about. It's about saying, is this portfolio aligned to the business plan and the strategic direction that we're moving in? Are we making the right decisions in the right way? Have we got alignment with the right authorities, which in some part of the MoP talks to functions? Are they involved in the decision-making process? And are we able to cope with changes of strategic direction? Are we looking at how we can align those things to what's going on in the portfolio? Because a portfolio, even though we want it to be agile and flexible, is more like a super tanker. And once it starts rolling and picks up momentum, it won't be that easy to change. So we need to be looking into the reasonable distance to see where the trouble's coming that we might need to change it for. So that's what governance is all about. Have we got the boards in place? Has the change director and all the staff got good, clear roles and responsibilities? And are we able to align effectively with the program and project layers below us? Which takes us nicely into management control, which is really about, are we doing things the right way? It's quite often when we're doing a P3M3 assessment, we find organisations are relatively strong at portfolio, or they might be strong at project. It's very rare to find them working optimally at all 3 levels. It takes only very large organisations seem to be able to cope with that scale of things. The sort of network rail type of organisations can cope with all 3. So it's, are we doing the right things? Are we keeping all our initiatives under control? And one of the things that we know is that portfolios start to drift into trouble, not because they didn't cope with the big changes, because everybody's focused on those. Why they drift into trouble is because there's lots of little unforeseen changes, or not so much unforeseen as uncontrolled changes happening down in the various projects. So a key to this is the P3o model and how those portfolio offices are working together. And to get this bit right, you absolutely must have standards for everything. Everybody needs to know what good looks like in the eyes of the portfolio, and you need to have things in place like assurance, gates to make sure people are following them. Otherwise, you just have chaos. All right, so that's what management controls are about. And in portfolio management, if you're working in one, that's your monthly highlight reports coming in, the reviews of them, the challenges. Hopefully you're seeing stage gates where you get stop-go decisions, because those are keeping the thing under control. And those stage gates are the tool for maintaining alignment through the governance processes. So what are the other ones that we've got to think about? Well, benefits. When the business case for portfolio management was put together, I'm sure that one of the lines in there would be, we're more likely to get our benefits. So you need to be looking at this on a monthly basis. benefits management should be being reported in the same way as management controls are being reported, because the only reason this portfolio exists is to actually deliver benefits, whether they're efficiencies, effectiveness, brands, whatever those benefits are that were put together in your benefits management strategy, you need to be tracking and proving. The other thing is that links back to the practice in definition around balance. If you overdose on forcing out benefits, then you will have problems on balancing business performance with change. Okay, financial management, well, that's relatively straightforward. Can we, and the big question that one has to answer is, can we still afford it? And are we going to have the money coming into the portfolio in the foreseeable future in years 1, 2 and 3 to deliver those things that we've promised? Or are there going to be funding issues? Is the economy tightening up? What's going on that could cause it to be a problem? Or, you might actually have an opportunity to have an influx of unexpected revenue in the short term. And that's why when you're looking at your portfolio balance, you need to have initiatives that can be kicked off pretty quickly, or to quote one recent UK government, shovel-ready projects. So risk management, really answering a question, what could possibly go wrong now? And of course, building the bridge between corporate risk and project and program risk. But at this point, we should be looking at the overarching threats to the portfolio, the overarching opportunities for, and there will always be opportunities for improving performance of the projects and programs, and how you build that together into a coherent picture. So what you would be looking for in this case is kind of dashboards and that sort of stuff. Stakeholder engagement answers the question, is everybody still on board? Because there will be people in favour of the portfolio, there'll be people who are questioning its existence, there will be people who will be obstructing it, and there will be people who are just enthusiastically pushing it as fast as it can. And that in itself will cause imbalance. So it should really be about, do we understand the stakeholders? Do we understand their dynamic? And are we keeping them on board? And always remembering that portfolio management is a senior management tool. So we only really need to think as far as we need to reach to keep those senior managers on board. Looking at the great mass of stakeholders, they're probably going to be segmented down through programs and projects in their own right. And then finally, we've got resource management, which is answering the question, have we got what we need to get this job done? And this is not just about people and skills, it's about assets, it's about technology, it's about intellectual property, it's about legal permissions. Resources is a huge topic. It's not just about people. Now, have we got enough to get through today? Have we got enough to do what we need to do next year, the year after? Where are they going to come from? The supply chain, internal development, how are we going to do this? So that's what resource management is doing. And if you felt like doing a little health check on yourself around this, the questions you should ask yourselves is, do we have a process to cover these, every one of these 7 delivery practices? Do we have organizational structure, roles and responsibilities, clarity about how they're being managed? Do we have tools and technology to support them? Because ultimately, portfolio management is about having information to make the right decisions at the right time about the right things. So we should use our POTI acronym to say, how well are we doing? Because if you had a P3o assessment, that's basically what we would be doing. We'd be using that model to assess how effective you are. All right, traditionally, when we're looking at portfolios, we look at stuff from P3o. The weak areas are normally stakeholder management, because everybody seems to think everybody else is doing it, or it's part of corporate comms, and the P3o people don't tend to think of it as theirs. And also benefits, because everybody's so focused on controlling the projects, they kind of forget that the reason the projects are there to deliver benefits. Okay, I hope that proved useful. I hope you enjoy the rest of the course.